Simple and Out has a lot of different ways to organize your users and your information. One of the easiest ways to organize your users is by using groups. Groups allow you to put your users into groups. A user can belong to more than one group if you wish, and using these groups, it makes it easier for you to be able to organize your board as well as things like reports. So today, let's take a look at groups. First, we have to click on Settings in the upper right, and then we're going to follow that up by clicking Groups on the left-hand side. Now here, I don't have any groups yet, but here is our group interface where we're going to use this to be able to add some groups. So I'm going to click this link here to add a group, and I'll get a brand new group here. It says click here to name this group, and if I click in here, you'll notice this is actually a field, and we could give this group a name. So I'm going to call this our managers. Okay, and then type in here to add. So if I click in here to type to add, I can start adding managers. So as you can see, the moment I start typing, I start getting a list of users to choose from. Now I have two options when it comes to how to select one of these users. I could either click on the user using my mouse. So here I can say John Sampson, click. Now John Sampson's in this group. The other thing I can do is use my arrows and keyboard. So I can use my arrows to arrow over which one is in green. And then when I land on the one I like, I can just hit the enter or return key. And then that adds people as well. So let's add Sarah Smith as well. There we go. Okay, now let's add a second group. So let's go ahead and click add group again. Now we get a second group. And since we're in a bank for our test company here, we're going to call this the Mortgage Consultants group. And let's find some people to add to this group. So let's go ahead and let's add Mark. I think Mark's a good one to add in here. And then let's go ahead and add Samantha. And then let's go ahead and add Lori. And then maybe we'll add Harry Mason. And then to show you, in this case, Kari Mason is in, or Manson is in both groups. And so that shows that a user can belong to as many groups as you like. Okay, so let's stop here. Let's say that this is pretty good. And we can click save. We could also delete our groups, by the way, by just clicking these little X's over here. It's probably worth pointing out. But I'm going to assume that this is what we want. So I'm going to click save groups. Now our groups are saved and ready to go. If I click back to the board by clicking on the name of the company up here in the upper left, we'll go back to the board, and now we'll have a group selector. It's up here by the search box. So by default, it's set to everybody, but you can go ahead and say, I just want to see the managers. Now we're restricted to just those three managers. And I can say mortgage consultants, just the mortgage consultants. And as you noticed, Kari's in both those groups just the same as before. So this is a very easy way to be able to do this. Another option you have is under the settings gear icon right here. If I click on this, this gives us the settings for the board. And we go through this in another video. But for the columns, I can say I want to see those groups right on the board. And if I click that, you'll notice we get the group assignments right here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this down by clicking on that gear icon again. And then I'm going to switch over to everyone so you can see exactly what's going on. So we can see that Sarah's in the managers group, John's in the managers groups, Kari's in both groups, and then we have these other people who are in the mortgage consultants group. And of course, you can sort by this by clicking on this group header. You can easily sort by that. So this gives you the option to name groups in ways that allow you to also help sort the board. Yet another good use for groups. So finally, let's go ahead and take a look at how groups can make our lives easier in our reporting modules. So in a lot of the different reports, if I click on reports in the upper right here, a lot of our reports have this user filter, which allows you to choose which users you want to run this report for. By default, in this case, I'm a manager. I'm going to run this report for all users. But because we now have people in groups, we can take advantage of that fact. So if I type in mortgage consultants, you'll notice I get a group here. And if I click this, I get a G here with indicating this is a group, the mortgage consultants group. And now I can run this report for just our mortgage consultants. So imagine if I was a manager of the mortgage consultant people, being able to run this just for my people really quickly is a super simple way for running reports in Simple and Out. So that's groups, which is a way to organize your board, organize your reports, organize your life to make Simple and Out easier to use than ever.